Hello.
Hi, I'm Sophie.
And I'm Zach. This is your 11th lesson and welcome to class. Our topic for today is climate change for General English B1.
მოგესალმებით. კეთილი იყოს თქვენი დაბრუნება ჩვენს ტელესკოლაში. მე სოფო ვარ, ეს კი ზაკია. დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილის თემა იქნება კლიმატის ცვლილებები. თქვენ უყურებთ ზოგადი ინგლისურს დონე B1.
For the agenda today, like always, we will start with the vocabulary, then move right along to the reading comprehension, and then right in the middle, we have the grammar. Then right after that, we have the summary, and our favorite part, homework.
ვიდრე უშუალოდ გაკვეთილზე გადავიდოდეთ, მოდით ერთად გავეცნოთ დღევანდელი დღის გეგმას. დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილი დაიწყება ლექსიკის შესწავლით. ამის შემდეგ ჩვენ წავიკითხავთ ტექსტს, რასაც მოჰყვება გრამატიკული სავარჯიშოები. ამის შემდეგ შევაჯამებთ დღევანდელ გაკვეთილს და დავასრულებთ ყველასათვის საყვარელი საშინაო დავალებით. Shall we start?
Let's start.
So Zach, how do you feel about climate change?
Oh, I think it's really bad. It's a little scary too, and the earth is getting warmer and warmer, and that's not a good thing at all.
Definitely not. The ice is melting. The global warming is already here, probably. Yes.
So let's move on to our vocabulary section and discuss these words.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ ლექსიკის ნაწილზე. თქვენ წინაშეა ის სიტყვები, რომელსაც ერთად შევისწავლით დღეს.
So our first word is ozone layer, and it's a noun, and it is the atmosphere or the force that is help keeping our planet protected from the sun's rays.
Ozone layer is a noun, and in Georgian it means ozonis shre. Ozone layer, ozonis shre, ozone layer, ozonis shre, ozone layer, ozonis shre.
And our next word is to recycle, and it is a verb. And to recycle means to reuse something, like when you throw away paper, you can turn it into something else, or some plastic or wood or anything like that.
And recycling is the way how we keep our planet safer, and those climate changes eventually will stop, right? With
Oh,
the help
yes.
of the recycling, hopefully.
Get a lot better.
Recycle is a verb, as Zach said, and in Georgian it means გადამუშავება. Recycle, გადამუშავება. Recycle, გადამუშავება. Recycle, გადამუშავება.
And next we have global warming, which is a noun, and it is all of the pollution and all the effects of the bad effects of the environment and making the world warmer.
Global warming is a noun, and in Georgian it means globალური დათბობა. Global warming, globალური დათბობა. Global warming, globალური დათბობა.
Global warming.
globალური დათბობა.
And next we have smog, which is a noun, and it is when fog and smoke come together.
Smog in Georgian means smogi, ანუ ნისლისა და გამონაბოლქვის ნარევი. Smogi, ნისლისა და გამონაბოლქვის ნარევი. Smogi, ნისლისა და გამონაბოლქვის ნარევი.
Smog.
Smogi, ნისლისა და გამონაბოლქვის ნარევი.
And next we have waste, which is a noun, and it is everything you throw away, like your garbage after you eat, or a box, or anything like that that you don't want anymore.
Yes, and that's the thing that we want to get recycled. Right?
Exactly right.
Waste in Georgian means narchenები. Waste, narchenები. Waste, narchenები.
Waste.
narchenები.
And next we have pollution, and it is a noun, and it is all of the bad things that go into the environment, like smoke, or throwing away your garbage on the ground in the forest, or things like that.
So we can say that we have multiple different types of pollution. We have air pollution, the ocean pollution, and so on and so forth.
Exactly right.
Pollution in Georgian means დაბინძურება. Pollution, დაბინძურება. Pollution, დაბინძურება. Pollution, დაბინძურება.
And next we have drought, and it is a noun, and it is when it doesn't rain for such a long time that the ground gets dry and there is no water in the soil or to help water your crops if you have a farm.
Gets deserted. We can say.
Exactly, yeah.
Drought, gvalva. Drought, gvalva. Drought, gvalva. Drought, gvalva.
Now let's move on to our vocabulary activities. So we were going to match the words with their definitions.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ ლექსიკურ სავარჯიშოზე. თქვენს წინაშე მოცემულია განმარტებები, ჩვენ ერთად უნდა შევუსაბამოთ მოცემული სიტყვები მოცემულ განმარტებებს. Let's start.
Let's do it. So first, Sophie, the useless materials, substances, or parts that are left after you use something, which word was that?
I think that was the one that I related with the recycling, and I think that it was waste.
Yeah, it was definitely waste. Great
Well
job.
done.
And then next, the slow increase in the temperature of the Earth.
Well, it's something that is endangers the planet Earth greatly, and it should be global warming.
Exactly, global warming.
And the next, polluted air that is a mixture of a smoke and fog.
Oh, I know, maybe you have seen this. It's smog.
Yeah, we definitely have seen this, and the right answer is smog. And the next one, a long period of time when there is a little or no rain and crops die.
Oh, I know, it's drought.
Yes, drought, exactly, well done.
And to change waste materials such as newspapers and bottles so that they can be used again.
Recycle.
Recycle, exactly right. And then the process of damaging the air, water, or land with chemicals or other substances.
Well, as we mentioned before, it should be pollution, as we have air pollution, land pollution, water pollution, and so on.
All different kinds.
And the last one, and quite obvious, but we will still read the definition, a layer in the Earth's atmosphere that protects the Earth from the heat of the sun. Pollution in the air has caused holes to appear in that layer, unfortunately. The right answer is
Of course, ozone layer.
yes.
Okay, now let's go on to our next vocabulary list.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ ლექსიკის შემდეგ ნაწილზე.
Now our first word for this list is heat wave, and it is a noun, and a heat wave is when it's very hot for a very long period of time.
Heat wave in Georgian means ძლიერი სიცხის პერიოდი ან სითბური ტალღა. Heat wave ძლიერი სიცხის პერიოდი ან სითბური ტალღა. Heat wave ძლიერი სიცხის პერიოდი ან სითბური ტალღა. Heat wave ძლიერი სიცხის პერიოდი ან სითბური ტალღა.
And our next word is damage, which is a noun, and damage is when you hurt something or you break something, like when you throw your trash in the forest, you damage the environment.
Damage in Georgian means ziyani. Damage, ziyani. Damage, ziyani. Damage, ziyani.
And next we have fossil fuel, which is a noun, and a fossil fuel is energy you take from the ground, like petrol or gas.
Yeah, very widely used nowadays, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Fossil fuel in Georgian means წიაღისეული საწვავი. Fossil fuel, წიაღისეული საწვავი. Fossil fuel, წიაღისეული საწვავი.
Fossil fuel.
წიაღისეული საწვავი.
And next we have environment, and it is a noun, and environment is everything in our world, especially nature.
And we can say that the pollution is affecting our environment, right?
Exactly.
Environment in Georgian means garemo. Environment, garemo. Environment, garemo.
Environment.
garemo.
And next we have flood, which can be a noun and a verb. And flood is when a large amount of water comes onto land.
Flood in Georgian means წყალდიდობა ან დატბორვა. Flood, წყალდიდობა ან დატბორვა. Flood, წყალდიდობა ან დატბორვა. Flood, წყალდიდობა ან დატბორვა.
And next we have greenhouse gases, which is a noun. And it is the negative polluting gas that goes up into the atmosphere and hurts the ozone layer and other things like our air too.
Greenhouse gases in Georgian means სათბური აირები. Greenhouse gases სათბურის აირები. Greenhouse gases სათბურის აირები. Greenhouse gases სათბურის აირები.
Now let's move on to our reading comprehension.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ წაკითხulis გააზრებაზე. Zach, what can we do to stop climate change?
Oh, I know. So we can start recycling more. We can stop using fossil fuels like driving as much and maybe riding our bikes or walk. Or we can use less power in general and start eating better. Lots of different things, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There are so many different things that we can do to make our planet a safer place to live.
Definitely. So it is 2080, and the world is a very different place. Sea levels have risen and flooded millions of homes. London, New York, and many other cities are underwater. The Earth has become a lot warmer, and heat waves are killing crops. People are fighting because they don't have enough food or clean water. An unknown disease has been spread all over the world, and many of the animals and plants have disappeared forever. This sounds like the story of a horror film, but it might really happen if we keep damaging the environment.
Many issues affect the environment, but which ones could cause the biggest problem in the future? As environmentalists explain, the biggest problem for our planet is climate change. Greenhouse gases are causing higher temperatures around the world, which is causing ice to melt and the sea levels to rise. Many people talk about factories, but the truth is we all cause climate change. Lots of our favorite things like mobile phones, televisions, and computers need energy to work. Most of these energies come from burning fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, which releases greenhouse gases in the air. These greenhouse gases trap the heat from the sun in our atmosphere, which makes our world warmer.
We all contribute to climate change whenever we travel by car, by plane, or by public transport, take a bath or a shower with hot water, turn on the heating, use electricity that comes from fossil fuels, buy products that need lots of energy to make and or come from far away.
Our climate is already changing. In Bangladesh, there are more storms, which makes it difficult to grow crops. Environmentalists say flooding is becoming worse and people are dying of diseases found in the water. Some scientists think that the Earth could be 6 degrees warmer by 2100. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it would have disastrous effects.
So now let's move on to our reading comprehension task. And are the sentences true or false?
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ წაკითხulis გააზრების სავარჯიშოზე. თქვენს წინაშე მოცემულია წინადადებები, ჩვენ ერთად უნდა გადავწყვიტოთ, ეს წინადადებები ჭეშმარიტია თუ არა. Shall we start?
Let's start. So Sophie, number 1, only factories have influence on climate change. Is that true or false?
I think we read it clearly that this sentence is false because not only factories but our everyday activities also have a huge impact on the climate change. As it was written in the text, many people talk about factories, but the truth is that we all cause climate change. Lots of our favorite things like mobile phones, television, and computers need energy to work.
Exactly.
And our next sentence is, in the future, it is guaranteed that the global climate change will stop.
I think that's false because we have to do something about it. We can't just sit here and do nothing. We have to contribute and stop using as much water or stop eating so much food and wasting and polluting the environment.
You're absolutely right. Nothing is guaranteed if we don't do anything, and therefore this sentence is false. And our next sentence is, our everyday life has a big effect on the environment. Zach, what do you think? Is this sentence true or false?
Oh, of course it is. Like I said before, that everything that we do, like not recycling or throwing things away and not trying to save as much as possible, will contribute to climate change.
Which makes this sentence true.
And then next, climate on the Earth has already started changing. What do you think, Sophie?
Well, I think that this sentence is very much true. As it was written in the text, our climate is already changing. And the example of this was Bangladesh, where there are already some storms, which makes it more difficult to grow some crops.
Now let's move on to the grammar section. And we have future simple and be going to.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ გრამატიკის ნაწილზე. დღევანდელ გაკვეთილზე ჩვენ ვისაუბრებთ მარტივ მომავალ დროზე და be going to-ზე.
The future simple is used in predictions about the future, usually with the verbs think, believe, expect, etc. The expressions be sure, be afraid, etc. And the adverbs perhaps, certainly, probably, etc. For example, environmentalists think that animals will become extinct.
მომავალი მარტივი დრო გამოიყენება მომავლის შესახებ ვარაუდის გამოთქმის დროს. როდესაც წინადადებაში მოცემულია შემდეგი ზმნები think, believe, expect და ასე შემდეგ. ასევე გამოთქმები be sure, be afraid, ასევე ზმნიზედები perhaps, certainly, probably და ასე შემდეგ.
The future simple is used for on-spot decisions and offers. For example, I will open the window, it's hot.
მომავალი მარტივი დრო ასევე გამოიყენება საუბრის დროს მიღებული გადაწყვეტილებების გამოსახატად.
The future simple is used for actions, events, situations which will definitely happen in the future and which we cannot control. For example, I will be 30 next month.
მომავალი მარტივი დრო გამოიყენება ისეთი მოქმედებების ან სიტუაციების დროს, რომლებსაც ჩვენ ვერ ვაკონტროლებთ, მაგრამ დაზუსტებით ვიცით, რომ მოხდება მომავალ დროში.
The future simple is used for promises, usually with the verbs promise, swear, guarantee, etc. For threats, for warnings, for requests, for hopes, usually with I hope. For example, I hope air pollution will stop soon.
მომავალი მარტივი დრო გამოიყენება დაპირებებთან, შემდეგ ზმნებთან, promise, swear, guarantee, ასევე მუქარასთან, გაფრთხილებასთან, მოთხოვნებთან და იმედებთან.
The future simple is formed with the help of will. For example, I'll call you, will you call me, I won't call you.
მარტივი მომავალი დრო იწარმოება will-ის დახმარებით, უარყოფითში კი გვექნება won't.
Be going to is used for plans, intentions we have for the future. For example, I am going to start recycling.
Be going to გამოიყენება სამომავლო გეგმებთან.
Be going to is used in predictions when there is evidence that something will happen in the near future. For example, look at the planet. Global warming is going to destroy everything.
Be going to გამოიყენება პროგნოზებთან, როდესაც გვაქვს იმის მტკიცებულება, რომ რაიმე ნამდვილად მოხდება ახლო მომავალში.
We use will when we make predictions based on what we think, believe, or imagine. We use be going to when we make a prediction based on what we can see, evidence, or know. For example, I think in 2080 we will have a better life. In the 2080, the world is going to be very different place.
Will გამოიყენება ისეთ პროგნოზებთან, რომლებიც ეფუძნება ჩვენს ფიქრებს, წარმოდგენებს ან რწმენას. Be going to კი გამოიყენება ისეთ პროგნოზებთან, რომლებიც ეფუძნება მტკიცებულებას, რომლებსაც ან ვხედავთ, ან ვიცით.
So now let's move on to our grammar exercises and use future simple tense or be going to.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ გრამატიკის სავარჯიშოზე. ამ სავარჯიშოსთვის ჩვენ ერთად უნდა ჩავსვათ მოცემული ზმნები სწორ ფორმაში, მომავალი მარტივი დროის გამოყენებით ან be going to-ს გამოყენებით. Shall we start?
Let's do it. So the first one, I can't climb this tree. Don't worry, I blank you. So we have the verb to help. What should we add in there, Sophie?
So I think that you mentioned, Zach, that when we have on-spot decisions, we need to use future simple, and that's why we need don't worry, I will help you. Remember that we form future simple with the help of the auxiliary verb will.
Fantastic. And next, this dress looks very beautiful, but it blank a lot of money. And we have the verb to cost.
Well, I think that in this case, we will need be going to because we sort of have an evidence that the dress will be expensive because it looks very beautiful. And therefore, the sentence will sound like this. This dress looks very beautiful, but it is going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, great job.
And now let's look at the next sentence. It's starting to rain. Oh, I blank. We need to use verb take an umbrella. Zach?
So I know it should be, it's starting to rain. Oh, I will take an umbrella.
Another on-spot decision, right?
Oh, I think so. So now let's move on to the summary.
ახლა კი მოდით ერთად შევაჯამოთ დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილი.
So first we had vocabulary, and we had two sets of vocabulary. And Sophie, do you remember any of the words in our vocabulary?
Well, let me think. I think I remember some. So as I remember, our topic of today's conversation was climate change. And therefore, all the vocabulary items were related to climate change. And when we are speaking about climate change, we shouldn't forget about pollution. You remember we mentioned different types of pollutions, like what were those?
Oh, I know there's air pollution, there's land pollution, and there's water pollution.
Definitely true. And there was also ozone layer, the thing that is affected the most because of different greenhouse gases. I think greenhouse gases was another one.
Yeah.
We also had fossil fuels, another negative effect on the ozone layer and on the climate change. Do you remember that word about that when it doesn't rain and when the land becomes deserted? What was the name for that?
Oh, that word was drought.
You are absolutely right. And then we had a combination of a smoke and a fog. That was
smog.
absolutely right. Good job. And then two other words that were related to waste and
We have recycle.
yes, recycling
Yeah.
and waste, right? We recycle the waste in order to make climate change less negative, I would say. And then we also have global warming. I think that was the final word. And in the second set of vocabulary, we had, do you remember any words
Oh, I
from there?
do. I remember we had heat wave.
You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
And then heat wave, of course, is connected to some sort of damage.
Oh, of course it
And
is.
another word was damage. We also had environment that gets affected because of the global warming and generally because of the climate change. We had, do you remember that word when it rains a lot and you have
Oh, sure, it's flood.
yes.
And also that's caused by if it's raining a lot and it makes too much water in a river.
yes, very
And
true.
also sometimes the ocean can flood places too.
And also maybe we should remind our viewers that flood can be a noun and a verb as well, unlike other words in our lesson today. And finally, I think that was it
Yeah.
in terms of vocabulary. And then we had reading. Zach, do you remember what was the reading about?
Oh, I do. So our reading, of course, was about climate change and all the different effects that it could have on the environment. And we also learned things that we could do to prevent worse things from happening in the world and in our environment, like using less water, using less power, try not to use fossil fuels, walk and run, don't use your car, those kinds of things.
Absolutely right. And also it talked about how us humans can try to change the reality of the climate change. Very important tips were there, I think.
Of course.
And finally, we ended up our lesson with grammar exercises. Today we talked about future simple and construction be going to. We presented few rules when and how to use future simple and construction be going to, and we also had exercises about this topic. And I think now it's time finally to go to our favorite part, to homework.
And for your homework, please write a short paragraph about what will happen in the future if global warming continues.
საშინაო დავალებად ჩვენ გვინდა რომ დაწეროთ პარაგრაფი იმის შესახებ, თუ რა მოხდება მომავალში, თუ გლობალური დათბობა გაგრძელდა.
Yeah, and please send your homework to the address on the screen.
გთხოვთ გამოაგზავნეთ თქვენი დავალება ეკრანზე მოცემულ მისამართზე.
And also we have an example homework done for you there already so you can see it.
Yes, you can use the template, but please do not copy-paste because we know that you can do better than us. So now I think it's time to say goodbye for today.
I think so, sadly.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Thank you.